Hey everyone, and welcome back to Tarik Talk. I'm your host, Tarik Mendez, and today I'm still here in Berlin, a city that never stops challenging how we think about history, culture, and contemporary life. Recently, I spent time at the Gropius Bau, and this visit stayed with me in a very particular way. Some museums impress you with scale, others overwhelm you with information. Gropius Bau does something different. It creates space for ideas to breathe. Before even talking about the exhibitions, the building itself deserves attention. The Gropius Bau is monumental but restrained. From the outside, it carries a sense of authority, almost institutional, yet once you step inside, the atmosphere opens up. The central atrium immediately shifts your pace. Light filters in, sound softens, and you're invited to slow down. What I appreciate about Gropius Bau is that it doesn't function like a traditional museum with a permanent collection. Instead, it's a space for changing exhibitions, projects that respond to the present moment. That alone sets a certain expectation. You're not here to revisit what you already know. You're here to encounter something new. The current exhibitions reflect that approach strongly. As you move through the galleries, you're not guided through a single narrative, you're entering multiple conversations. The work on view right now feels global, layered, and deeply connected to social, political, and emotional realities. What stood out to me immediately was how immersive the exhibitions felt. These aren't shows you simply walk through. They ask something of you: time, attention, openness. Some spaces feel quiet and contemplative, while others are bold, even confrontational. The transitions between rooms are intentional, almost like chapters in a book. A lot of the current work engages with identity, memory, and the body, how we experience the world individually and collectively. You'll encounter installations, sound, film, sculpture, and mixed media works that don't try to simplify complex ideas. Instead, they trust the viewer to sit with uncertainty. One thing I really appreciated was how the exhibitions avoid being overly didactic. There's context, of course, but it never feels like the work is explaining itself too much. You're allowed to feel first and understand later. That balance is rare, and Gropius Bau does it extremely well. Walking through the galleries, I noticed how often I paused, not because I was confused, but because I needed time to process. Some works linger emotionally. Others make you question assumptions you didn't even realize you had. And that's exactly what strong contemporary exhibitions should do. The architecture plays a huge role in how these exhibitions are experienced. The scale of the rooms, the high ceilings, the way sound carries or disappears, it all affects how the work lands. Gropius Bau doesn't overpower the art, but it supports it, frames it, and gives it room to exist fully. What also stood out to me was the diversity of voices represented in the current exhibitions. There's a clear effort to move beyond a single cultural perspective. You feel that this is a museum thinking globally, but also very much rooted in the present. Being in Berlin adds another layer. This is a city shaped by division, reconstruction, and reinvention, and the exhibitions at Gropius Bau seem to understand that context deeply. The work feels aware of history, but not trapped by it. It looks forward, asks questions, and resists easy conclusions. At times, the exhibitions felt challenging, not uncomfortable in a negative way, but demanding in an honest one. They ask you to engage, to reflect, to reconsider. And in a world where we're constantly scrolling and moving on, that kind of engagement feels necessary. By the time I reached the final galleries, I realized how quietly powerful the experience had been. Gropius Bau doesn't try to entertain you. It invites you into a space of thought, and that invitation stays with you even after you leave. Walking back outside into the streets of Berlin, everything felt slightly sharper. Sounds, movement, people. That's often the sign of a meaningful museum visit when the world feels different afterward. Gropius Bau isn't about providing answers. It's about creating conditions for reflection. Through its architecture and its current exhibitions, it becomes a place where contemporary art can do what it does best: ask questions, hold contradictions, and reflect the complexity of the time we're living in. If you're in Berlin and looking for a museum experience that feels current, thoughtful, and deeply engaged with the present, Gropius Bau is absolutely worth your time. Give yourself space there. Let the exhibitions unfold slowly. That's it for today's episode of Tarik Talk. Thank you for listening and for joining me here in Berlin. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe, share it with someone who loves contemporary art, and stay tuned for more reflections from museums and cultural spaces around the world. A new season is here, and I've got some incredible guests I can't wait to share with you. I'll also be dropping an art guide featuring some of my favorite galleries, museums, art fairs, and artists you should definitely check out. All episodes are now streaming visually on YouTube and Instagram, and audibly on Amazon, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and all major streaming platforms. If you haven't already, make sure to follow and subscribe for more art adventures. Thank you to everyone who supported the podcast, and to everyone listening in over 160 countries worldwide. To my new listeners and my day ones, I love you. Thank you for being part of this journey through art. Have a guest you think I should interview next? Drop their name in the comments. With hundreds of episodes recorded live in over 10 countries, catch up on previous guests while you wait for the new season to drop. Stay tuned. Ciao!